I'm sure you know, a very famous professional wrestler recently became a free agent, and I was so excited I rang up my mum and I was like, "Oh mum, you're not going to believe it, a wrestler became a free agent." And my mother said, "What does that mean? Is it an agent that's free?" And then all my hype was popped and it fell out the window. This is why I don't talk to my mother about wrestling. And it's also why I'm going to talk to you about wrestling instead, because you will understand it and you'll also understand while I'm pretty intrigued to see what's going to happen not only with the person I just mentioned, but 9 other free agents that are on the market right now, and you may even say are the hottest of the bunch. I don't mean that literally. You already know what the list is. My name is Simon Miller. Welcome to What Culture Wrestling. Grab your hands and put them in the fist position for some reason, and let's go. Number 10, Damien Boy Smith Jr. The son of the British Bulldog and the spinning image of that man. You may remember him when he was in WWE when he went under the name D.H. Smith. But ever since he left that company in 2011, not only has he smashed it in New Japan, winning a bunch of championships, including the tag team titles, but he's also been a mainstay of MLW, who recently just made it onto Vice TV. More recently though, he has been featured on Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, where his kind of hybrid wrestling MMA style has worked a treat, because you look at the guy and he looks like he could wreck you, so when you see him wrecking other people, you totally buy it. And you could say he's one of these people that has a certain legitimacy about him. Now, the word on the street at the moment is that apparently Damien Boy Smith Jr. may have signed with WWE again, but we don't know that for sure. So if I was running a promotion and he was out there, I'd probably get a fishing hook and try and reel him in. You see what I did there. Number 9, Daniel Bryan. And yes, you could have put him anywhere in this list, but I thought we'd talk about him nice and early because he is the talk of the town. And if you can believe it too, his WWE contract actually expired at midnight on that Friday once he was done with SmackDown and once he'd been banished from the show because he was defeated by Roman Reigns. So what a way to go out, although of course he could always resign. And that is the question of the week at the moment. Where the hell is he going to go? Because really, he can go wherever the hell he wants. He could go back to WWE, he could go to Impact, he could go to AEW, he could go to New Japan, he could go to CMML. Maybe I'll try and make up a company and ring Daniel Bryan and say, "Oh, don't you want to come work for me?" He'll go, "No, that sounds terrible." But what an incredible position to be in, and it's all because he's one of the best ever. But seriously, if you are running any kind of wrestling business right now and you're not interested in Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan or whatever the hell you want to call him, you gotta be crazy loopy so-and-so. I'm genuinely excited to see where the hell he goes. Number 8, Mickie James. Now, I won't hear two ways about it. Not only is Mickie James one of the best female performers ever, she is a bona fide Hall of Famer and really should be starring in a wrestling promotion somewhere. And while it sucked that she did get released from WWE recently, as I'm saying these words, it also didn't come as too much of a surprise because for some reason, they just didn't want to use her. I mean, I can't even remember the last time we saw her on TV. When you did hear about people being let go, you were like, well, she may be on the cards. But WWE's loss can be everybody else's gain because she would be an absolute asset wherever she turned up. I would quite like to see her in Impact. I think they've got a great knockouts division and she'd fit right in. But also, if you want to take her and put her in AEW and give me matches like Mickie James versus Britt Baker, well, I'm going to be a very happy pro wrestling fan. I said that with the wrong face. I got my emotions wrong. What she can do better than anybody, though, is take her experience and ensure young rookies right now are being taught the way to wrestle and the way to not wrestle. So not only can she still go, but she can also give back. And there's a load of men doing that. Why can't somebody do that for Mickie James too? Number 7, Minoru Suzuki. Now, I couldn't believe this when I found out, but despite seeing Suzuki in a New Japan ring most weeks, technically, he ain't even contracted to the promotion. Well, I mean, he is, but within that deal, it says he can go outside of these walls and he can work for other companies such as Ring of Honor, OTT, Rev Pro, or Bloodsport, hence why you've seen him there. And look, I doubt Suzuki is going to leave NJPW anytime soon because that would be ludicrous, but it does mean he is officially a free agent and could turn up somewhere other than probably WWE, because they just don't make those kind of relationships with anyone. But this is Minoru Suzuki though. If he went to New Japan officials and said, "I want to do it," or if he went to Vince McMahon and said, "I want to do it," everyone would probably be like, look, just let him do whatever the hell he wants, otherwise he may kill us. Number 6, Alison K. When the new NWA started doing its Power program back in 2019, its women's champion was Alison K. Throughout all that too, not only has she had absolute bangers for that title against the likes of Thunder Rosa, but she's worked in WWE, she's worked in Ring of Honor, she's worked in AEW, and even though she's pretty much kicked ass in all of them, at the moment, nobody has tied her down to the ground. Not literally, I mean a contract. Given that she also had really good spells in Shine and Impact Wrestling, I can't believe she's not on somebody's radar, and I bet once the pandemic calms down and the world goes back to normal, she will turn up somewhere and she will add a lot to that women's division. Number 5, Tessa Blanchard. Now, a controversial one to say the least, to the point the other day there was a rumor going around that Tessa Blanchard may be about to sign with AEW, and the kind of general consensus was, no, don't do that. We don't think she's a very nice person. Officially fired by Impact Wrestling back in June 2020, even though she was the World Heavyweight Champion, so there was an absolute communication breakdown there. You are allowed to say whatever you want about her as a person, that is your right, but as we are talking about professional wrestling on this video, well, she is very good and she is very talented. She just seems to have done some very, very controversial things. Which leaves us with the big question, should any company actually sign her, or will the heat that comes along with that be too much? Now, I'm never going to stand here and say I don't want somebody to get a job, but I can completely understand it makes it very, very difficult and would make me slightly uncomfortable too. You do have to imagine though, given other people that have been hired, eventually she will find new ground. But now we're just going to have to sit back and wait and see. Number 4, Andrade. There is no two ways about it. When Andrade was contracted to the WWE, he was crazily misunderused. I know you can say the same thing about Aleister Black, Ricochet, or Mustafa Ali, but they're still signed at the moment. Andrade is not, hence why he gets in the list. And this is even more nuts because he did have a mixed run when he did arrive in World Wrestling Entertainment. Like, his official debut in NXT was okay, but then when he found his feet, he was absolutely magnificent. And he proved this again when he got to SmackDown. He was having those bangers with Rey Mysterio. And yet, for some reason, we never gave him that fabled push to the moon. He also had a gold and money-making act when he was teaming with Zelina Vega, but of course he's about to make his re-debut in the wrestling world, and if you believe the murmurings of the street, at some point this could result in a match with Kenny Omega, and if you don't want that, well, you're allowed not to want that, that's your prerogative, but I massively want it. Either way, I'm massively fascinated to see what his journey comprises of now, and I have a sneaking suspicion he may not actually officially go with anyone, and he may play the field. Number 3, Brock Lesnar. So we have to go with the information we do have, and it seems very likely and very true that in August 2020, Brock Lesnar's contract with WWE ended, so right now, he can do whatever the hell he wants to do. Which is true even when he is signed with WWE. And the reason we decided to put him in here is twofold. One, he is another guy that could go to any company in the world and all of a sudden there would be crazy interest. But also two, if that did happen, Vince McMahon would ring him up and go, "Hey pal, name your number," because he don't want his golden goose, or at least one of them, signing for anybody else. It also kind of works this way because the beast in the pandemic era doesn't make any sense. So while there is a part of my stomach, my tum-tum right here, that would love to see him in an AEW or a New Japan, it's always going to be first dibs to WWE, and he'll probably end up back there. But also, between you and me, if we do this, I think we should turn him babyface, and I think we should feud him with Roman Reigns. I think that would give Brock Lesnar a new lease of life. And now it's probably never going to happen. Number 2, CM Punk. I know you're rolling your eyes, and don't worry, I'm rolling my eyes as well, because we're one, we're together, we are the same person. And CM Punk wouldn't have even made it in here if it wasn't for something he said 2 weeks ago. Because when doing a Q&A, Mr. Punk admitted that if he could take on someone like Will Ospreay for the IWGP Championship, well, that would get his intrigue, and maybe he would return to wrestling. And then the rumor mill was just on go. Now, I do gotta say that if you were gonna put a gun to my head and say, "Simon, what do you think about CM Punk returning to wrestling?" I would say I don't think he wants to do it, but also, I don't think he needs to do it. He's been away so long, I imagine he's got the itch out of his system, and he's making movies, he's writing comic books, he's doing commentary. He has made a very nice life for himself. It would be gangbusters though, and it would make everybody go through the roof, no matter where he went. I do think once more we should wait until fans return to arenas, but he is a free agent. If he wanted to wrestle yesterday, somebody would give him the cash. Number 1, Samoa Joe. And this is another reason why CM Punk makes the list, because when Samoa Joe got released from WWE, these two started talking on Twitter, and because we're all massive nerds, we went, "Oh my gosh, maybe they're gonna have one more match." And let's face it, we've had dreams worse than that. No one really even knows why he got fired from WWE in the first place, or the speculation is maybe he can't get in a wrestling ring anymore because he has a bunch of injuries. But let's say that he is good to go, Samoa Joe is a main event player and a world champion anywhere in the universe. So I'm not even talking about Earth. You can put him on Mars, and I expect him to win a title. If this does all come together as well, Vince McMahon surely will start kicking himself in the ass, because I don't know anyone that doesn't rate Samoa Joe on some level. I mean, he's believable, he can cut a promo. If you put him on commentary, all of a sudden he's really good at that. He is just a multi-time player, and somebody needs to put him back on my TV instantly. So yes, that's right. I am saying that he is one of the best all-round talents ever, and I won't hear two words about it. But just to finish this list off nicely, he is 100% a free agent. And I cannot wait for this one. Know of any other free agents in wrestling that we should be talking about? Make sure you leave it in the comments below, and then don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Then you can head over to whatculture.com and read articles like this. You can follow us on social media so we can say hello, and you'll see videos floating around the screen. Why don't you give one a click for entertainment? My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you for watching as always. And even though I can't wrestle at the moment because of the pandemic, I am a wrestler and I'm not signed to anyone. So I will call myself the worst free agent on the market. I can't wait for that phone to start ringing.